Okay, so many of you guys have seen or like just when you guys are watching TV or around the internet, you guys have seen the amount of pictures that go around of like celebrities such as Angelina Jolie and other celebrities that are in third world countries such as Africa or Haiti doing charity work and stuff. And what they are achieving to like do to you guys is to make you guys donate money to foreign aid such as UNICEF and other things. But the claim here is that foreign aid fails to benefit the poor because and this can be proven through three main points. The first point is that money donated is first used to pay charity workers. The second, foreign aid reaches the corrupt government before and never the poor. And thirdly, government aid has really negative effects on third world citizen countries. Okay, so as explained, money donated is first used to pay charity workers. UNICEF, that is the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, and its mission as described in UNICEF-USA.org is to work for the survival, protection, and development of children in 190 countries and territories around the world. But this organization, out of the money that it gets from donations, has to pay its workers. For example, as a given fact by UNICEF.org, USA.org, Carl Stern, UNICEF CEO, earns almost $500,000 yearly. And if you think about it, that's even more than what Mr. Obama makes. Also, charities have to pay for extra costs such as transportation, food, and even propaganda. As stated in an article in skeptics.stackexchange.com, only pennies from actual donations go to the UNICEF cost. That's less than 0.14 pennies per dollar of income. And this leads me to my second point, that foreign aid reaches corrupt governments. Journalist Michael Miller from Broward Palm Beach New Times wrote, Haiti's president, Mitchell Martelly, has been accused of spending more than $11 billion of international aid. And this can be seen through the luxuries he surrounds himself with, including here a Louis mansion and many jewelry that him and his wife possess. Another example would be some African presidents that have featured in many media headlines, not for heroic accomplishments as leaders, but for robbing their nations, as described in an article by the Association of Concerned Africa Scholars. Billions of dollars hidden by African politicians in Swiss banks on mansions that are spent on mansions, lavish trips, and luxury cars, said John Stossel from abcnews.com. Now moving on to my third point. Foreign aid has a negative effect on third world country citizens. John Stossel claims that even food gets stolen, and that Kenyan farmers said bags of food from their government never arrived. These kind of actions give poor people false idea of money and other kinds of help that ends up never reaching them. In some cases, the poor end up fighting for the little amounts of donated food that reach them. Claimed on abcnews.com, you might find most of it getting lost on the way, but then found for sale in streets or markets. So in reality, this benefits no one. And by all these points that I stated, I hope that you guys can see that in reality, although some foreign aid might be good and it might reach the poor firsthand, in reality, like when you take a look at the statistics and everything, not a lot of the money that was first donated ends up reaching the poor.
All right, it takes you a little bit of time to get to the point at the beginning of the speech because you're struggling with that example about all of the celebrities in Africa, and I'm not sure that really helps you that much. Its application is a little bit of a stretch. The clear argument is that that the aid is not getting to the people that need it because it gets wasted by the administrators of the programs, and it gets stolen by people in the areas where the programs are supposed to be working. I thought your secondary claims were actually clearer than what your main proposition was, and you did a pretty good job identifying what those points were. Although the signpost on the transition to your second point was not very clear, I thought the transition to the third point was pretty clear, and so you need to just be more consistent on those things. The evidence, you had a couple of good examples. I'm not exactly sure what UNICEF's total budget is and why the $500,000 that's given to the executive who runs it is out of hand. If they have $1 billion annual amount of resources that they're spending, and they spend $500,000 to pay the executive, and I don't know what on the rest of it, then I guess I'm not sure that that's automatically problematic. You did have a piece of information at one point that suggested it was like 14 cents on the dollar, and I'm not sure if that applied to UNICEF. I'm not sure if that was the claim. If that evidence applies to that particular argument, you need to make that a lot clearer. And then I think you've got the strongest piece of our evidence on this point. The salary of the executive, I think, is probably less important than this statistic, which suggests that a relatively small proportion of the money actually gets in the hands of people who need help. On the point with the problems internally, the rulers, the presidents, kings, whatever they are calling themselves in whatever country they happen to be in, taking the resources and utilizing them for personal enhancement. I think you've got a good example with the president of Haiti. It's a little bit more generic on the other supporting points, and I think you need to either have some particulars on those points, and it would be really helpful if you had some numbers on it, because it sounds like there's just this general statement that in foreign Swiss bank accounts there are billions of dollars that were siphoned off, and I don't doubt that that's true, but for instance, is the money that's supposed to have gone for reconstruction of Haiti not getting to, is Haiti not reconstructed? If there was money sent or goods sent for relieving a famine someplace in Africa, did the famine continue unabated? Did people not end up dying anyway? We have one piece of information that suggests that sometimes people turn on each other and fight over the resources that do get to them. And that's about it. It's kind of a generic piece of information on that point. So I think your evidence needs to be a little bit stronger on each of those points. I thought you did a pretty good job summarizing at the end, and you do an okay job trying to talk to us. The one thing that I think is kind of interesting is that you're so dependent on UNICEF, and the big question immediately in my mind becomes, is that the only organization that has these particular problems? Are there other organizations? Do they have more success? Or do they have the same kinds of problems that they run into? And so I think maybe a more general argument would be appropriate, covering not just the one agency, but other agencies as well. All right, thank you.